Hey there, I'm Caden Rains, and welcome to my basement in Animal August as we explore a series of sets and figures and all that with a pretty obvious theme, if the name didn't give it away. If you're seeing this intro, then know that this video is a combination of the three previous videos where I went over the first three Animal Crossing sets I put together. So if you already watched those and don't want to watch them again, then you might want to click away. Though, if you want to watch and give me the view, I'd appreciate it. But either way, I hope you enjoy your time in my basement today, and let's get looking at these Lego sets. Starting with Julian's Birthday Party. This was a $20-ish set, which, you know, it's 170 pieces, so that's around $20 with the way prices have gone. But I'm just going to go. I'm going to go ahead and tell you off the bat. I waited for a sale on this one, and while it's not around anymore, I mean, it might be at some stores, but I doubt it. It's definitely a way to go. But because this is Julian's birthday party, and it's kind of sad that he's all on his own, I thought we'd combine this with another small set, that being Maggie's Pumpkin Garden. This is a polybag set that, so one of the $5 things you get, on usually at the end of an aisle in a bin or whatever. So let's do these two together because some of the stuff with these smaller sets is going to be very redundant. So there's not really a reason to do them individually anyway. But let's get started. We'll look at the minifigs and then the builds themselves, and then we'll find a place on the city setup for them. All right? All right. So to start us off, here are our two minifigs. We have Julian, who is our birthday character, and all the Animal Crossing figs have new, or at least for these sets, new heads. Some of them are fairly unique, like this unicorn head here, and they pretty much all have a hole in the top, so I could give this hat to Maple over here if I wanted, but it's Julian's birthday, so we're going to let them keep it. I'm not really, I know it's from the game, but I'm not really a fan of the eyes being closed. It's one thing for a minifig to have eyes closed on one of their face options. It's another for that to be the only option. So, and since I'm not like the biggest Animal Crossing fan, like I've played the games, they're fine, or some of them, and they're fine. I get why some people like them. I really got a lot of these sets because I like unique minifigs and builds and whatnot. So here we go. So as for Julian, like I said, he's got this unique head. But what I think is really neat is his torso. Get that shadow of his head, his long face out of the way. And it's like this galaxy swirl kind of effect. And it is, if you can see it shining there, it's not just the glare from my lights. It's this shiny ink effect. And I think that's really cool. Again, I assume that's from the game. I don't remember this character from the times I've played. So that might be wholly on Lego, but I kind of doubt it. This doesn't seem like the kind of thing that that'd be the case for. And on the box art, they have a picture of the game model, and it's got a hoodie like this. So there we go. Maple is pretty similar, although where Julian has regular legs, Maple has the short legs, the original ones that don't move. Well, so they're short legs. None of the short legs move. It's medium legs that move. So whatever. And then this Mabel from Gravity Falls looking sweater. And so that's neat. It comes with a watering can because it's a garden thing. And like I said, they pretty much all have a hole at the top so you can give them different headwear and whatnot. And I'm not going to complain about the lack of leg printing because I know that's mostly keeping in line with how they appear in the games. Some of them do have, when we get to other sets, some of them do have at least like foot printing towards the, on the foot of the minifig. But I know that they tried to keep it game accurate to a degree without just doing a completely new mold for each minifig and just do the heads. So I don't really have a problem with it in this instance. It's one of those things that I think could be better, but I don't think needs to be better. So there's my 2 cents on that. So that's their minifigs. And what I like about, I kind of touched on this earlier, but what I like about these Animal Crossing heads, well, at least some of them, is that I think you can use them, or in the future, LEGO could use them for more sets that aren't Animal Crossing, that aren't Nintendo. Maybe not Julian as much. That's a pretty unique looking head. Like, thinking of other unicorns they might do in the future that I know of. It's hard to imagine one that looks just like this, but this, I'm pretty sure Maple's a bear, but bear, squirrel, lots of other woodland critters. If you have a cartoon character that looks kind of like that, then that's an already made head for that kind of thing. So I think that's an overwhelming, not overwhelming, but a strength throughout these sets we're going to look at that works for the Animal Crossing sets, whether or not they're for you specifically. I think they open up options for the future, and I think that's neat. So anyway, those are the 2 minifigs spread through these 2 sets. Let's look at Maple's little build, and then we'll go through Julian's build. All right, so as this is a polybag, the build is pretty small. There's not too much to it, but it gets a bit across. So we've got his. I'm going with her. Again, I only know some of these characters because I'm not as up to date with the series. So I'm sorry if I misgender or mispronounce anybody's names, but I'm trying not to. But anyway, it's her little garden with an extra bit, and pretty much a lot of the land builds we're going to see throughout these Animal Crossing sets are built on these Mario bases, the ones that were introduced in the Mario sets to connect what he landed on, what the figure of Mario landed on. And one day we might look at those. I have more of those than I like to admit, because I had some weird notion that if I supported it, then we'd get the Mario minifig style sets quicker. We are getting those next year, but I don't know. That's one of the few series that I'm like, I regret spending as much on this as I did. I still looked for whatchamacallit, sales and whatnot, but whatever. I'm getting off topic as I do. So the play feature that you see with most of these sets, and they even include this in a lot of the instructions, is that all it takes is moving the 2x4 around. Well, I just moved it the same way. Is moving the 2x4 around, and now it's in a different place. We can express this a little more when we get to the Julian set in a second, but that is in a lot of the instructions. You are meant to put that together the way you would set up your town or your island in Animal Crossing. And I think that's pretty neat. It's why they use these base plates, or, well, not base plates, these modified plates, I guess they are. But I don't know. I'm going to stick to, until I get more of the setup for where I want the Animal Crossing and other animal characters to go, I'm just going to mostly leave them as they come in the instructions. I guess I'm just not creative enough. It's my cross to bear. But anyway, the other thing, and I think this also was in Mario originally, is you're going to see, because there's a tree in a lot of these sets, you're going to have these stump pieces or root tree pieces in a lot of them, including the other one we're looking at today. So I think that's neat as well, because it really does give you that tree look, and you know, I like it. I like when Lego looks like what it's supposed to look like. It would have been fine if they didn't include that piece and they just had another 2x2 round brick, but I'm glad that they've got the one that looks like it has roots. So that's really all there is to say about Maple's pumpkin garden. So let's just shimmy her over here and take a look back at the Julian set. So like I said earlier, I think it is kind of funny that it's his birthday party and they only put the one figure in here. I think for a $20 set, you could have put another figure in, especially since I know that there's multiple characters that use the same model or similar model in the games that are or color swap or whatever. So they could have grabbed somebody else and just colored them differently. But, you know, I'm not in charge of that kind of stuff. Like with the Maple set, all of these pieces or bases just come apart based on the 2x4 in the middle. This one is a little less, I don't know, modifiable in the fact that it's specifically got this streamer effect or build that's supposed to be built between the tree and the light post here, which I think the light post is really weird for this set. And it's not so weird. I think it's bad, but it's a weird. I don't. If you're in a park or something, are you gonna set up your birthday party right next to the lamppost? I guess if it's the only thing you can connect your streamer to, but whatever. So anyway, you can still move these parts around like that, or put it even farther away. I don't know why you'd have the presents so far away, maybe so they don't get opened before cake. But yeah. So besides Julian himself, the other two parts that aren't connected are his presents. So we've got a skateboard for one, and there it goes. And then this box, which has money and a microphone and a star in it. I kind of wish we got more of these money pieces, because out of the first couple sets I'm going to build, I think there's only 2 that have any. And so, you know, if it's like this, it's going to be 4 pieces total. And I don't know. And we'll see how many I have by the end of these builds, but I just kind of feel like you should have more, not necessarily in this set, but just in general. And there's Benny coming to give her 2 cents on the matter. Benny, are you gonna wish Julian a happy birthday? No, you okay. So Benny approves, I suppose. So again, you've got this tree build, and this is the most common type of tree build, much more so than the one with Maple set. And I guess as part of like a gameplay mechanic, if they, almost every tree that I've seen, because I looked at some of the other sets already, you can open them up and they've got a stick inside. So it's like if you chop it down to get the materials, I suppose. But that general tree build is what you get in a lot of the other sets. There's one set I think has 4 of them, but there are other builds. We see these trees in a few other sets just based on like the fronts, and there's even some palm trees and whatnot, because there are different biomes, or to a degree, in these games. And then you also got this neat little radio. I mean, it's kind of old school, I suppose, but it's you can tell what it's supposed to be in that video gamey, somewhat low poly way. You gonna break stuff back there, Benny? She's rubbing all over stuff the way, you know, cats do. It's cute, but it also isn't great for little things. But that's the fun of having cats. That's the wrong way to cross that space, Benny. Anyway, she's gone. Well, she's somewhere else now. Anyway, so beyond that set of presents, our other builds are these presents. And these are not openable. I mean, you can take the tops off of them, but there's just brick underneath, or in this case 9 bricks, but it's a solid space. So that's I don't know, that could have been better, I suppose. It gets the point across about what it's supposed to be, so it's not like the biggest annoyance in the world, but it is what it is. Finally, we've got the table build, and the cake is fine. Well, it doesn't want to come off. Okay, well, whatever. So if you know the topping piece that a lot of cakes and slime and whatnot uses, it's got these spots that they've put the flowers in to give it, you know, decoration, and then a candle on top. And then I guess Julian's of legal age because this is like an emptied wine bottle. And then we got some cupcakes and such. Although I really don't love that they use this piece for cupcakes, because they also use this piece for dog do in like sets that come with vets and whatnot. So when I see that now, I think dog do. I think the only other piece I see that used for that works is there's a hermit crab piece that uses a white one of these for its shell. Otherwise, it looks like dog droppings. I think that's the first set I saw it in. Anyway, so, and then the lamppost is like 5 pieces, so it's barely even a build. So as far as these two sets go, they are on the cheaper side of what you're going to get in most of the Animal Crossing stuff. There's a couple others that are small, like in between these. There's one we'll look at later in the month that's, I guess, between these two in size. But these are still on the smaller side. And, you know, they're all right. As a poly bag, I think the maple set is fine. In fact, I got a second one in my big box of poly bags, just, and maybe even a third, but mostly so I could get an extra one of these torsos, because it does kind of look like a Gravity Falls Mabel sweater. But otherwise, it's just something you can decorate, you know, a more foresty or less city-like area, and that is an area that will be expanded upon on my table, and I will show you that in a few minutes. But for now, like I said, if you found these on sale, or at least Julian, like I said, it's a poly bag and you rarely see those go less than their $5 base, but Julian's fine. I don't like that it was like $20 to start with, although I don't think it stayed there for very long, because this isn't the greatest $20 set. But it's not terrible. You get a modifiable set to a degree, and it looks like something out of the game. And that's kind of what you're looking for in a set based off a video game. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm neutral positive on Julian and positive on Maple. But either way, now that we've got them and taken a look at them, let's find a place on the table and see what we've got going for them over there. So here is the initial space that I'm putting these two sets in, and this is very apt to change, because if you've been with us for a while, you might notice that this side of the setup has grown a little bit. And that's because the tables that I have been waiting for finally got to me. Although I've only set up this smaller one so far, that's allowed me to expand the graveyard section a little bit, or will expand, and then the neighborhood, and then what's going to become my animal area, each by a plate or two. So there's going to be more, I'll be able to expand the park and the buildings and housings and whatnot over here. And while it might bleed into this other section, and I got to get 7 more plates, but while it's going to bleed into that, this will be where a lot of the Animal Crossing and Sonic and whatnot goes. And I know that's just going to be 6 plates here, but, you know, I'm going to play with it as I go and figure that out. For now, though, because I do have some buildings coming up, I'm just going to let Julian and Maple have their little party at the edge of the plate that I do have. So that's the start to our Animal Crossing Lego set. I guess retrospective, because I think the series may be winding down. There's only like one new set out recently, and it's not even a minifig scale. But I guess we'll see as time goes on. So let me know down below if you have either of these sets, the Polybag for Maple or the Julian birthday party. And if you do you think they were worth the price like I kind of do? Or do you think that these are just kind of iffy? I'm kind of on the fence either way, really. But I'm always interested to see what you guys have to say. So let me know down below. And I hope you had a good time in my basement today. I'll see you in the next one. Today we're continuing Animal August with another Animal Crossing set. This one being Leif's Caravan and Garden Shop. So, as you can see, this one comes with 2 characters as well as a small car and camper build. And we'll take a look at each of those parts in just a second. It is it's a medium-sized set. I think it was like $35 originally. Like several of these, I tried to get them at a discount when I could. Some of those happened more easily than others. Some of them, you know, it's luck of the draw sometimes. So anyway, let's take a look at the minifigs first, and then we will break down the 3-ish different builds of the set. All right, so the 2 minifigs we get with this set are Leif, who I believe is supposed to be a sloth. His printing has this kind of apron overalls kind of look to him. I kind of wish that we got leg printing in this case to better reflect what he's wearing. I know that they're trying to keep a specific style with these figures, and I can appreciate that, but it does kind of look like he's just not wearing pants, which I know not all these characters even wear clothes to begin with, but I don't know. I think the sloth should put on pants. Then we also have Poppy, who is a squirrel character, and you know, she's fine. She's got a similar head to the Maple one. It might even be the exact same head, just colored differently. And that's what I was kind of mentioning when we looked at that set, is that a lot of these heads, and that includes Leif here, can be used for a lot of other things. So I think that we will be seeing, you know, unless, no, sorry, Benny's trying to eat my spare parts. Unless Lego did a deal where they can't use some of these molds, I hope that we'll see them. Oh my God, Benny. Yes, Benny always likes to see what I'm doing, or often likes to see what I'm doing. You want to get down? Or at least off the... Yeah, thank you. Okay. She's gone to terrorize the rest of my city. So anyway, back on track now. Leif has also got a similar issue for me, because obviously this bit under the stripe of light green is supposed to be a skirt, but it doesn't go over the legs at all. So I don't know. I don't think it looks much like a skirt. I think it looks like she's not wearing pants. And again, I know that these are cartoon characters and it doesn't really matter. Cartoon characters have been wearing no clothes since they were a thing. But it's pretty obvious what the intended look is supposed to be. So I kind of feel like just the fabric, like a fabric, like Lisa in the Simpsons sets has short legs, and they still managed to give her a skirt. And I know Poppy here, I hope it's not playtime, but I know she has a tail, but there's ways to work around that. There's different cuts, or just have the tail insert be above the skirt. I think that could have been done better. And it's not even a leg printing thing. It's an accessory thing. So that's my little concern about Poppy. It's not big, but it is kind of going to be consistent, I suppose. it wasn't noticeable to me in the last two sets we looked at, but there are definitely upcoming sets where I've taken a look at the characters, and I know some of them aren't meant to be pantsless or skirtless in this case, and they're going to kind of come across that way, and that's unfortunate, I suppose, is the word I'm looking for. But anyway, those are our two minifigs, and I'm glad we got at least two here. Like with the Julian set, I believe it should have come with two, but it just came with the one. So that's irksome, I suppose. But anyway, I think these figs are fine overall. I've got my hesitation about the way the legs and printing or slash accessories like a skirt work, lack thereof, work on these, but it's not like I'm gonna shove them in a drawer and hope they never see the light of day. It's not that kind of situation. So anywho, there are there are the minifigs. Let's look at the build. So the first part is going to be the, I don't know, the bases, the outdoor bit, the garden shop. And that's built on 3 of these small Mario bases. I know they have a different name, but I think they're the Mario base. So that's what I'm going to keep calling them. And there's like 3 or 4 sizes, and this is the smallest one. So we've got a water, I can't remember, pump, a water pump here. Then a garden itself. And then you've got the little shop area. And I guess in the games, I know I've said this before, but I'm not super familiar with the characters except for like the ones that everybody knows, like Isabelle and KK and Tom Nook and all that. Those I recognize on sight, and a couple others, some for better reasons than others. But ones like Leaf and Poppy here I am not as familiar with. But it does kind of seem odd that we've got he lives out of his camper but has a garden that he sells stuff out of. I guess that makes sense in the game or to whoever put this set together. I'm not as big a fan of that line of thought. I don't think that makes sense to me, unless he's just living in a van down by the river, which if you're old, you'll get that reference and you'll find it very funny if you have a good sense of humor. If he does live down in a van down by the river, good for him, I suppose. But, you know, whatever. I know part of the Animal Crossing thing is you can kind of set up where and how some of your villagers live, but anyway, I'm getting off track as I do, but like with the other sets in this line, you can rearrange it. This one doesn't have too much you can do, because like this one you can't really connect stuff on what I guess from your point of view would be the left side, but it's fine. The main build is of course going to be the vehicle, which is also Leaf's home, I suppose. So let's break this into 2. Let's start with the car. This is an okay little car. When you've got something cartoony like this, I don't need it to be an 8 wide or anything. It's like I have the Emmett car from the movie, and I think that's fine being so small, and this is kind of in that same regard. It's just a little car for a little guy. Could it be more enclosed? Sure. But again, this might be the way it looks in the game. I'm going to assume that's the case. I do like its license plate with the trees. I think that's pretty neat. I kind of wish it had another one on the back, but it just comes with this blank bit. But otherwise, this is a fine little vehicle, and it's the smaller part of the overall vehicle build, with the other part being, I guess, what you'd call his caravan or his camper. And I'll go ahead and get this one bit out of the way. The way these are intended to lock together, you can see that it causes the car to rise up on its back fender. And that's just because this is so much heavier. It looks like, I haven't played with it, it looks like it should be pretty easy to correct, quote unquote, that. And I'm going to do that later. But it is a little thing. It's not that big a deal. But it does look, I wonder if Leaf's enough to weigh it down. Nope. Yeah, so even if he, without a hand to hold it down, it's gonna, well, that kind of got it. But depending on how you place it, it's going to, there's a good chance it will drop like that, which, you know, that might just be a thing for me because I'm obsessive about that kind of thing. But anyway, let's look at the Caravan itself. It has the other license plate, which I guess makes sense because these are supposed to be connected, but I do feel like including one more of this print wouldn't have been a big deal. So that's that, I suppose. It's just such a small thing not to include another one, because if Leaf was driving around his car without the Caravan attached, then he would need that back license plate. It's the back license plate that's more important in most states and countries. So, you know, you lose points there, Animal Crossing Lego set. You're not realistic enough when it comes to license plates. Your license plates that are trees and not numbers. Definitely, if there's a cop, he's going to say, oh, license plate, bushy tree, tall tree, bushy tree, tall tree, and there's a star in the middle. Yeah, that's how that conversation is going to go down. So anyway, looking at it from the outside, we've got a door here that opens up, and we'll see this more open in a second, but you can just see the little kitchen area, and then further in there's a bed, and that's basically all there is to it. So there's two ways to look inside, or well, there are now. The intended way is you pop the top off and then you open this. And that can still happen, but what I've done here is, you see this has two tiles across the parts that swing open, and then these two 1x3s with two 1x1s on this top bit. Those were originally on the swinging open parts, but I thought in my moment of genius that that's kind of dumb. So I switched those two. So if you wanted to, and I know this is kind of a little, doesn't really accomplish much, but if you wanted to, you could now have it open with just, while keeping the top on. I don't know if that's much of an improvement, but I felt like doing it because it was literally 6 pieces, but they're all really small, 1 stud wide pieces. So it's like, well, why not? But we're going to take the top off just to get the light in and whatnot. So here is the kitchen area and the bed area I mentioned. The kitchen has a little stove and sink. It's a very small sink, but it's a sink. And then that's the little stove top. I guess it's good that he can cook his food. Maybe he cooks his vegetables. And then it's just a little bed. You can plop him on there. I mean, and it gets the sense that it is a bed. So that's, I mean, you know what you're looking at. I do wonder why they put this brick. Well, it's actually, they put 3 of these in a row. And there goes the clock. But the only one that gets used is the top one. I guess you could move the clock down if you wanted, but I don't know why you would do that. Like, what's the benefit there? So that's a little odd to me. Like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I just, it's a weird little choice, because I know it's easier to make the brick with no stud on side than the one with the stud inside. Well, easy might be the wrong word for it. Economical, maybe. So anyway, getting off topic again, as one does. That is the builds and minifigs of this set. I'm a little happier with this set than I was with the Julian birthday one, just because it comes with 2 minifigs, and there's more pieces too. This one was 90 some pieces more than the Julian set, which is why it was like a $30 or so set. But I mean, so definitely for that price, you should have 2 minifigs at least. I kind of wish you got more. Really, what I would have done if I was designing this set would be drop this bit. I know it's probably from the game, and I'm sorry I'm not as up to date on this game as you'd probably hope someone who's talking about this would be, but I don't know, I would have dropped at least some of this and kind of improved this a little bit. I don't think there's much you need to do to it, but I either like a slightly cheaper set or a slightly improved like interior to the camper or something, or even just another minifig. I think you could have thrown that in and maybe dropped some of this. Like you could have combined two of these bits into one and add another minifig or something. At least that's the way in my head it would work out. But now that we've looked at this set, the figs, the builds, etc., its unrealistic license plate situation, I'm going to find a place for it on the table and see how it looks with the others that we've looked at so far this Animal August. All right? All right, so I have brought Leaf and Poppy over here to join Julian's birthday party. The parts of their build are just over on this side of the plates for the moment. As we start to get some of the Animal Crossing buildings built, this will start to take shape a little more. At least it will in my head. So expect a lot of the bits that we've put together so far to start changing and expanding and commingling with the others as they come out, because eventually I'm going to expand the little river from the Ninjago sets, or moat, or whatever you want to call it, not too far, but a few studs out, and then any water kind of stuff that we build from the Animal Crossing and other animal sets will be along that. And again, some of it might bleed into the neighborhood section, because I do know, and this is a little bit out, but I know what's going to go right here, and it is still kind of animal themed, but it's a little bigger than what I see going on over here. But we'll just have to see as things evolve. I'm obviously, with the extra space, I'm still lacking in base plates. Things are gonna take a bit to get together, but now that we've looked at Leaf's Caravan and Garden Shop, let me know down below if you've got this set, if you like it, or if you never did and you're happy you didn't get it, or vice versa. I think it's okay. These aren't my favorite minifigs we've looked at, but I still like that they exist, and I'm happy for them. I'm glad that Julian has three people at his birthday party now, 3 animals, whatever. But yeah, so let me know down below what you think of the Animal Crossing sets we've looked at so far this Animal August, and if you think that they're, I don't know, vague spots on the table are looking good or not. Otherwise, I hope you had a good time in my basement today. We're continuing Animal August with another Animal Crossing set, that being KK's Concert at the Plaza. This is the biggest set we've looked at so far, and it is what I consider the town hall build of the Animal Crossing sets that I've got. I think that's what it's supposed to be. If it's not, I'm going to pretend it is, because it's my set and my city and my Lego. But this one is a little more of a build than what we've seen before, whereas the others didn't get past 260 or so pieces. This one is 550, so it was around $60 originally. Roughly the last month, as of recording, a lot of Targets and Walmarts had stuff marked down. I don't think this one was there because it's been around a little longer, but I did get some of these Animal Crossing sets that I'd been hoping to find on sale, along with some other stuff. So you have Target and Walmart clearing their shelves for the next incoming wave of toys to thank for some of these reviews. But anyway, let's take a look at our minifigs and then the various builds of this set, and then we'll find a place in our town for it. All right, so the 3 minifigs we've got are Isabelle in sort of her fall look. There is another set I have that has her in her more standard look, but we'll get to that when we get to that. We've got KK Slider, who he's a hound dog, and then we've got Audie, who I believe is a fox based on her color and tail and all that. So there we go. As I said in a previous review of these Animal Crossing sets, most of them have a hole for accessories. Most of them are on the top, but because Isabelle has this bun, hers is on the side. If you look up pictures of the set, you'll actually see her with a yellow ribbon, but because she's already yellow, I thought that was kind of dumb. So I grabbed one of these pink flowers that I had from, I think it was from the Julian's birthday party set, because I had some extras from that, and I think that stands out a little better. It might not make sense for the fall, but they're all pieces of plastic. Anyway, also like what I mentioned in a previous set, she has foot printing, leg printing of a kind, and I think that is what I wish I saw more of. And I know because they're not all wearing pants, or not wearing pants in a way that's shown in the figures, it's not really necessary for that, but I do kind of wish the design we got with Isabelle here was a little more prevalent in the other figs. The other two don't have much beyond their head sculpts, although KK comes with the his guitar, and he does have a tail printed on the back, and he doesn't wear clothes anyway, or at least most of the time. I'm sure there's some instance where he's wearing clothes, but yeah, so that looks fine. And then Audie here, she's got the shirt, and I know in the game that would probably go down to her knees or whatever, but they have slightly different cartoony, video gamey, low poly proportions, which is why pretty much all of these characters use the short or medium legs. Oh, she also has the foxtail. The only one we've looked at so far this Animal August that didn't have short legs is Julian, and he is a kind of horse, and horses are kind of tall in the real world, so it makes sense why that's the case. It's not like it's neither here nor there really, but I think these three figures are fine. Isabelle and KK I think are a little better than Audie, but Isabelle is one of the more unique ones, and is one of the characters that most people know if they play like Smash Bros or Mario Kart, or a couple other or like Doom, when she was like, the internet decided she was going to be Doom Guy's best friend. And if I ever find a fake or a the right combination of pieces to make a good looking Doom Guy, I'm definitely gonna make her and him friends, because I'm a slave to internet memery. So those are the minifigs. They're fine. Two of them are better than a third in my opinion, but some of that comes to the fact that I think that the way they expressed the way a lot of the characters in the games dress, where the shirt, you don't really, not every character has pants, but they usually have a shirt that goes past their waist, since they can't do that without the cloth piece. And I guess they weren't willing to do that for every set, or a lot of sets. They just have them with no pants. Again, it's not something everybody's going to notice, but it is kind of my continued annoyance with these figures. And I like them, I do, but the way I see minifigs is that if you can see the middle piece of their torso, what goes between the legs, then you're seeing between the legs. And I'm not trying to be gross, but that's just how I see minifigs, and how I think Lego sees it in most of their human figures, where that should be covered if it's not going to be printed with covering, if that makes any kind of sense. I don't know. Now that we've looked at the three minifigures, let's look at the various builds of this set. I guess there's 4 in a way, but some of them are more substantial than others. So let's go through them, starting, and we'll go from smallest to largest. So our smallest one is the stage. And while it doesn't come, well, I guess it kind of does come with one extra 2x4, but and you only really need one. So if you use that, or you just have two 2x4s laying around, you can easily connect this to the building itself, or at least the foundation of the building. But there's not much to see with the little stage. There is a very simple speaker, a place for KK to sit or stand while he's playing the blues like an old hound dog. What I'm going to call a record, and it's probably is a record. I'm probably just showing how little I know about the games, but we do have this nice printed tile of him in front of some trees, so it's very simplistic, but there's that. And then, of course, as you can see, there is a microphone stand. I think you could also, if you got rid of these 2 bits, you could just have the stage as a place with 2 benches. I don't know if they're supposed to be benches. If they are, it's awkward for a stage area, but it's fine. So that's the first little build. It's okay. You get what it's supposed to be, but it is, it's like 12 pieces. The next build is what I believe is supposed to be Audie's little dessert stand. She's kind of seen, well, she's seen holding one of the desserts, and again, they use that shell dessert dog poo piece. And I'm sorry if that's not what you want to think about when you see that piece, but it looks like dog poo. They've used it for dog poo. It might as well be. But they show her on the box holding that, so maybe that's what she does in game. I'm sorry for my lack of understanding, or well, lack of knowledge. I have basic understanding. But it's just a neat little build. Like, I don't necessarily think it needed to be across 2 base plates, or well, not base plates, 2 of these Mario plates. And part of that is because they're different colored, but if you're going to put the sign, then this is the way the instructions said to do it, on this side instead of, say, just like in front of it or something like that, then you're kind of saying to the builder, you need to do it this way because it's this bit obviously goes with this bit. So that kind of stifles the creativity a little bit when you tell them, this is like something that's supposed to be switchable. You're kind of saying, oh no, it should go like that. Even though, yeah, like I just showed you, you can easily move that piece. But I guess I'm probably thinking about it too hard. Then we've got one of these trees again. It's basically the same as the pink one we saw in the Julian birthday, where you can even, there we go. If you cut it down or whatever, you get the stick out of it, or piece of wood. Otherwise, it's just a recolor with different flowers, leaves, pieces on it. So this, it's more substantial than the stage, but there's not too much to say about it. Like, you can't put, I guess you could physically put a character behind it to man it, but there's no like specific place for that. It is just, a square of pieces that you can put here. So it's not great, but it's not terrible either. So this part I'm neutral on. Again, this is basically a side build. It's not it's still pretty small comparatively compared to what we've got with the remaining 2 bits, which let's move on to those. So the next one is KK's van. I hope he doesn't live down by the river like Leaf, but he's got a camper top which pops off, and then you can open both sides up. Inside, he's got a piece of pizza and a drink. And I don't think he lives in the van the way Leaf does, or his camper, because there's no sink or anything in here. But you can, if you take his guitar away, you can either have him drive the car. Look at that dog go. Or, very easily you could have him lay down. Although you probably Still, I haven't actually put him in here before. Yeah, you have to put his stuff up. So, and have him laying down in it. So he can sleep here, but I don't think he lives in it the way Leaf does. So that's that. And then the camper top, it does open up, so you can toss his stuff in there. And then he'll be on the road again. So that's, and it's a fun little build. It's nothing like spectacular. There are better campers than this one, but this matches the aesthetic of the games that these sets are aiming for. And what I was happy to see when I got the pieces out was that these notes, which are on both sides, are printed. They are not stickers. You don't have to put anything in this set or any of the sets we've looked at so far. Like the cafe sign is not a sticker, the notes aren't a sticker, and none of the stuff on the actual building are stickers. So thank you, Lego, for not doing that, because a lot of the sets I like have a lot of, or big sets at least, have a lot of stickers. So now that we've looked at those, finally we get to the main part of the build itself. That being the, I guess, town hall. And what you got with the town hall here is what you're going to get with most of the buildings in these sets. They are just facades, and that's nothing new. That's not a Animal Crossing problem. It's not what I love. I prefer full buildings, and when I do have a set I like the Up House or the Despicable Me house, I have plans to extend those into a full building. I'm farther along with the Up House. I know exactly what I need to do to finish that one. The Despicable Me house is a bit more complicated, and I haven't had time to work on it. So anyway, so with this, you've got, and this pops off just like all the things on these bases do. You've got this notice board, and it has a little bit for KK, but somebody's birthday, which I'm going to assume is Julian's, and then just other random things, something about fishing and something about birds. It looks like, I mean, it's not meant to be scrutinized too importantly or too deeply. We've got a little lost and found box here with I'm going to go with boombox. This one I don't like as much as the radio we looked at in a previous set. Like, it almost looks like a bomb, honestly. Like someone tossed this in, and when it gets to the end of its tape, it's going to go off. I know that's not what it's supposed to be, but that's what it looks like to me. Maybe it just means I'm messed up in the head, but whatever. Then there's this flag piece, and you actually get the option of two. So there's this new Leaf flag, which is what I'm going to stick with. But you also get this one, and I'm sure this is something from the games, but I don't know. I don't recognize it. And then what they do at the end of the instructions, because this is one of the last things you build, they do encourage the builder, to make your own flag design, whether you're using these pieces or the Leaf one. Obviously, if you use the Leaf, because this is a 2x2 round piece, which again is not a sticker, you're a little more restricted, but I applaud them for actually encouraging creativity outside of just the build. Like, if you're younger, on the younger side, they wouldn't give you instructions for it, but they used to put alternate build ideas in a lot of sets, and some of them would be crazy, but they would do that, and I kind of miss it. I don't need it. I don't get to the end of a set and have it built. It's like, I wonder what else I could do with this, because if I want to do something else with it, I have hands and a brain, but it's one of those fun little things that kind of died over time. But anyway, and then the clock at the top, which when I was building this, I'm like, well, they never made a Even though they've made Back to the Future sets, they never made the clock tower. Well, now I can just recreate the clock tower scene with the Animal Crossing set. That's probably what somebody had in mind. Anyway, inside you've got an ATM looking thing. Again, I'm showing how little I know about some parts of this. And this mystery box, which you can open. It doesn't, like, they don't default to having anything in it, but you could put something in it. And then what I'm going to call a reception desk. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be, but you can put Isabelle or whoever at it. And that's fine. I do, because a lot of the buildings are built on these Mario bases, I don't really love that they're such small facades, but, you know, most of these are not meant to be super expensive sets, even though this one was, what, like $60 originally. They're following a theme and a general build pattern, and I can't really fault them for that, given what they're trying to imitate. I personally would like it if the buildings were at least deeper, if not full buildings. But, you know, I knew what I was getting into when I started looking at these sets to buy and hoard, as one does. So I definitely don't really think it's like a $60 set the way it initially was, or how I think it was around 60. It might have been higher, but I don't hate it. It's one of those where if they dropped some stuff like the side builds, or at least I wouldn't get rid of the car. I think that's a fun car, and I'm usually not the biggest vehicle person, because they've got so many sets that are vehicles or have a vehicle or whatever that I'm just like, I don't need anymore. But I appreciate this one for what it is. The rest of the set is fine. I like the minifigs. Like, even though Audie isn't anything special to me, because I don't really recognize that version of the character, like, I'm fine having another little fox. She can be Tails' aunt or whatever when I get to the Sonic sets, since they're never gonna make a Sally minifig. If anyone watching this has access to like alternate reality technology and wants to find me a reality where they make SatAM/Archie minifigs, do that for me, because the one company that was making, like the Chinese company that was making fake Sonic minifigs, stopped making Sonic minifigs, and that makes me sad, even though I have pretty much almost all the Sonic sets. They were making figures that I kind of doubt Lego's ever going to do. And I guess here's my quick aside, because you've probably noticed, I think I might have said something before, you might have noticed some of the figures that have just been kind of in my city. While I prefer real Lego, when there's a character that I know they're not going to make, I am willing to spend $1 or $2. Usually not a lot, but if there's a character that I like that I know they're not going to make a fake minifig of, or a set of, or whatever, then I'm willing to get a fake minifig, or 50. I have more than I realized when I was organizing my stuff. But I don't know how I got off on this tangent. You can rewind and tell me how I got off on this tangent, because I don't feel like figuring it out. Anyway, here is the KK's concert at the Plaza. I like it. I don't think it should have been quite what it is. If they had reduced it a little bit, I think get it down closer to like $50. I think that would have been better. Or if it's going to be at this price point, still reduce its, side builds, and do something to make the building a little more substantial. You're probably going to hear me say that a bit more as we get into these other sets that are buildings and such. But I mean, if it's a complaint I've got, even though I understand that it's the building philosophy, which I think is somehow how I got on that tangent earlier. I don't want to think about it, but yeah. So It's fine. I'm glad I got it for whatever sale I did. This one doesn't have the sticker on it, so I don't remember how much it was, but it's not a $60 to $70 set for me. That's my takeaway. And if you feel differently about it, please let me know. But for now, I'm going to put it on the table and see how it looks. So let's do that. So here is where I've put the town plaza for now. And it's now Julian's birthday party is the whole concert. It's the whole reason for the season. Everybody's jamming out to KK's, I don't know, melodic tunes. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, for now, it's just kind of been put there. I do like the idea of the town hall being at the back there, but because it's not a full building, what I kind of plan to do, and this is based off what's going to go over here in this back corner, is I plan to build a mountain eventually. And it's going to be kind of a complex mountain because it's going to have a path and whatnot. But I think I'm going to build a less complex mountain backdrop here and put a lot of the buildings kind of built into it, or at least some of them, to kind of hide the fact that they are just facades. And if not, I'll figure something else out. Again, this little section is probably going to bleed into the plates that will eventually be over here. And that's fine because they're animals, and this is kind of bleeding into the park area of the neighborhood that I'm slowly putting together. So that is the way our first week of Animal August Lego sets have come together, with the plaza here, the birthday party here, and Leaf's caravan over here. As we get more, this setup will kind of shuffle more as other sets, especially the buildings, get plopped in here. So expect this to change. Expect it to go off the plate because I don't expect to buy them really quickly. I'm not in a rush for that bit. I think they're kind of overpriced, honestly. But anyway, let me know down below how you feel about the KK's concert at the Plaza set. Like I said in my earlier part of the review, I like it overall, but I do wish that they had used the piece count a little better, especially with the side build and the extent that there actually is a building. And I know I'm going to make that complaint again, so sorry if you're hearing this multiple times. And yeah, I guess that's it. So let me know down below your thoughts. Otherwise, I hope you had a good time in my basement today. I'll see you in the next one. And if you get the chance, like and subscribe. It's always helpful. See you later.